An advanced AI model has just flagged Shiba Inu with a rare market structure alert. Order flow, volatility bands, volume pockets, and sentiment all line up in an unusual pattern, and GPT-5's pattern engine is flashing attention. Price is quiet, traders seem divided, and yet, the data is telling a different story. What has GPT-5 actually seen in Shiba Inu today, and could this structure be the calm before a serious move? Welcome to Dr. Crypto, your daily serving of Shiba. This is the spot for you if you're curious about anything related to Shiba. If you want to keep informed about all the latest news forecasts and stay ahead of the crypto industry, subscribe. To get more Shib news, be sure to click the like button. Please note that by the time you see this video, some rates may have changed. Financial advice is not included in this video. According to multiple November reports, Shiba Inu has spent this month moving in a tight, undecided zone while the broader market digests months of volatility. Analysts expect Shiba Inu to trade within a relatively narrow band, with its average value hovering just below the psychological 1,000-unit region and intramonth swings staying controlled rather than explosive. Other research notes that Shiba Inu is trading around a level comparable to roughly 1,000 units in November, with circulating supply in the high hundreds of trillions and daily volume typically between $150 million and $200 million, keeping the token among the top assets by capitalization even as speculative appetite cools. Short-term scenario tables from another portal map expected values for specific dates, assigning a projected level for 21 November that is only slightly above current prices. In other words, human analysts see a tight, cautious market. GPT-5, however, is picking up something more unusual in the structure underneath. To build today's signal, GPT-5 ingested several fresh data streams: November price forecasts, live volatility ranges, Shibarium usage spikes, and AI-based prediction feeds. It then scanned for historical patterns where similar combinations appeared. First, GPT-5 detected that Shiba Inu is sitting in what it classifies as a compressed equilibrium band. Using ranges from recent forecasts, the model marked an active zone roughly spanning the mid-800 to low 1000 units area, matching projections that see Shiba Inu fluctuating only slightly on either side of its current base. Second, GPT-5 overlaid this band with structural information from recent technical work that describes Shiba Inu as coiling inside a triangle-style range, with higher timeframe resistance not far above and strong demand repeatedly appearing at lower levels. Third, the model pulled in behavior from predictive engines, including AI-driven outlooks that project modest but consistent upside into late November and December if current trends hold. Combined, these inputs produced a pattern GPT-5 rarely flags: price pressed into a narrow corridor, structural pressure building at both support and resistance, and external AI forecasts clustering around slow upward drift instead of sharp crashes. Live market status pages summarized by research platforms show Shiba Inu trading around a level equivalent to roughly 1,000 units in late November, with a circulating supply near the high hundreds of trillions and daily trading volume clustering between $150 million and $200 million. Separate aggregation of November expectations suggests that, for this month, Shiba Inu is likely to oscillate between about the high 800 unit region on the downside and the mid-800 seconds on the upside as an average range, reinforcing the idea that price behavior is tight, not wild. Another short-term forecast model lists predicted values for 21, 22, and 23 November that climb in small steps rather than big leaps, with each day's target only a few dozen units above the last. This kind of laddered projection fits the same narrative: slow, compressed motion rather than explosive spikes. GPT-5 treats these consistent, narrow ranges across multiple independent sources as a key confirmation that Shiba Inu is in a structurally unusual calm zone, not just a random pause. Momentum is not only visible on the price chart. Recent network data shows that Shibarium, Shiba Inu's Layer 2 blockchain, has just experienced a significant burst in activity, with daily transactions jumping sharply compared to earlier in the month. GPT-5 treats this as important because it means that, beneath a calm price, actual usage is waking up again. In previous cycles, the model finds that when usage spikes while price is still stuck, the probability of a later structural break increases. At the same time, risk signals are also present. Reports describe how a hacker tied to an exploit on Shibarium has demanded a large bounty, highlighting ongoing security and trust challenges within the ecosystem. For GPT-5, this mixture rising activity, unresolved risks, and a stubbornly flat price is part of the rarity. Most of the time, strong on-chain shifts either drag price with them or come during periods of heavy volatility. Seeing them emerge during such a compressed phase makes the current structure stand out. GPT-5 is not the only AI engine involved in Shiba Inu discussions this month. Recent coverage explains how conversational AI models, when asked about Shiba Inu's outlook, highlight fresh activity data, burn spikes, and Shibarium usage as key drivers behind a stable base narrative rather than a collapse story. Another AI-focused piece from a research blog notes that their models suggested modest potential upside in the near term, but warned that AI projections are mixed and should never be treated as a crystal ball. Algorithmic forecast tools add further nuance, projecting small percentage increases for the next week and larger cumulative gains over the next month, if current conditions persist, with Shiba Inu gradually climbing through higher unit bands into late December. GPT-5 ingests these AI outputs, not as truth, but as sentiment signatures. It treats AI forecasts as another layer of crowd psychology. When many independent engines converge on mild upside during a compressed market, the structure becomes even more statistically uncommon. After running millions of backtests across historical Shiba Inu data and similar assets, GPT-5 classifies today's structure as rare for three main reasons. First, price compression is unusually clean, with multiple independent forecasts agreeing on a narrow trading band around the current base, and only gradual steps higher or lower in the short term. Second, on-chain activity is rising instead of falling. The spike in Shibarium transactions, combined with the broader narrative that Shiba Inu continues to build an ecosystem despite price fatigue, breaks the typical pattern where low volatility coincides with low usage. Third, AI-driven narratives are unusually aligned, with different engines and models pointing to slow upward drift or survival scenarios, even while traditional indicators still show mixed sentiment. When GPT-5 searches its historical memory for periods that combine compressed price, rising utility, and clustered AI optimism, it only finds a small number of comparable windows. Some of those windows preceded powerful rallies, others led to prolonged sideways action. But in almost every case, they marked turning points where the character of the market changed. While GPT-5 runs pattern recognition in the background, the human side of the market is reacting in real time. Recent deep dives argue that Shiba Inu is positioned to survive the next cycle and potentially emerge stronger, despite heavy losses this year. They highlight ongoing burns, Shibarium's growth, and the project's ability to maintain attention even during downturns. Other long-form forecasts emphasize that, while price has struggled to escape consolidation, Shiba Inu has repeatedly attracted new narratives, from payments experiments to emerging decentralized finance integrations, keeping the community active even when the chart looks flat. Developers, for their part, are dealing with both opportunity and risk. On one side, they benefit from growing Shibarium activity. On the other, they must handle exploit-related issues and negotiate with attackers demanding compensation. GPT-5 interprets this mix of constructive news and hard challenges as another reason why today's structure stands out. Markets rarely stay quiet for long when fundamentals are this active. When GPT-5 projects forward from 21 November, it does not output a single price target. Instead, it generates scenario probabilities based on similar historical structures. In the short term, the next 1 to 4 weeks, the model assigns a significant probability to continued range trading inside the current band, with Shiba Inu oscillating in a corridor roughly equivalent to the high hundreds to low thousand units. This aligns with several human forecasts that show moderate upside but no violent breakout in the immediate future. For the 3-month to 3-year window, GPT-5 leans heavily on external forecasts and macro assumptions. Some models foresee Shiba Inu gradually moving into much higher unit ranges if Shibarium adoption, burn mechanisms, and general crypto liquidity all improve together. Others project a slower path, with Shiba Inu remaining range-bound but surviving each market wave. GPT-5's key message is less about a specific number and more about structure. Today's configuration appears closer to a transition zone than to a terminal collapse. A balanced view needs to remember that AI is powerful but not prophetic. Even articles discussing AI-generated calls stress that these predictions are mixed and should never be treated as certainty. GPT-5's identification of a rare structure does not mean an instant rally is guaranteed, nor does it rule out another leg down if macro conditions turn against risk assets. Risks remain clear. A security shock, negative regulatory headline, or deep Bitcoin correction could still pull Shiba Inu out of its compressed range and push it toward lower support levels. On the other hand, if Shibarium activity stays strong, exploit issues are contained, and liquidity rotates back into established meme assets, the combination of rising usage and compressed price could become fuel for a sharp move. The signal from GPT-5 is simple but subtle. This is not an ordinary sideways phase. It is a moment where multiple forces converge, and where ignoring the structure may be just as risky as overreacting to it. As GPT-5 quietly scans millions of data points, Shiba Inu sits in one of the strangest calm zones of its recent history. Price is compressed, usage is rising, narratives are rebuilding, and AI models cluster around cautious optimism. Whether this rare structure breaks upward or downward, it almost certainly marks a turning point. For now, the chart looks sleepy, but the data and GPT-5 suggest the story is only just beginning. The day is over now. Remember to give it a big thumbs up. To see our most recent material, share it and subscribe to the channel.